If you have a surfboard quiver like mine, you know how annoying it can be to store all of your boards safely. I made this surf rack a couple of years ago, but as you can see, my quiver has outgrown the rack, so I had to come up with another storage solution. I'm going to show you how I did it. It's really cheap, really easy, really effective. So I installed this shelf myself several years ago in the garage to store my camping gear and other miscellaneous items. It's at 2 meters off the floor. So originally I had installed the rail here, but I found that it was just too low. And so anything over 6 foot, maybe 6'1", was going to touch the ground when I hung them off the rail. So I went ahead and I installed this shelf to be much higher. And this one is 2.15 meters off the floor. And I can fit everything up to my 6'7" surfboards on the rail in this rack. Now, you don't have to have a shelf installed. You could literally take a piece of framing timber like this front piece right here, screw it to the ceiling battens across the ceiling, and then you could screw your hooks in off that, and then you would have even more space. But you don't have to do that. You can go straight off the ceiling. You just can't screw straight into the plasterboard of the ceiling. You need some timber there because it's just simply too heavy and it will pull out through the plasterboard. So the only materials you need is a skinny curtain rod, and then I use 5 of these screw-in hooks, and that's it. And then a piece of timber to stick it into. So you need to make sure that you place the rail sufficient distance from the wall so you can fit your surfboards in. So I measured the maximum width of my largest surfboard, and then I did a little more than half of that width so they had some clearance from the wall. So in this case, it was 330 mil from the wall, which is 1 foot and 1 inch from the wall. So I marked that on each of the posts. And for me, 5 was enough because of the length of my rail. I went through and drilled a pilot hole for each. Then I just went ahead and screwed in the hook. Now you'll notice with my 5 hooks that I alternated the end position because I felt like that would just hold the rail more securely. And then I just put the rail on to each of the hooks. Because the pole is only made of aluminium, it's super easy to just bend it under and around for each of the rails, and that's it. So I still use the old rack because the 7-foot foamies are just too big and heavy to hang on the rail. So the most expensive part of the process was buying these hang-up systems. But they're really convenient because you can get them in Futures and FCS. They go straight in the fin box and clip in just like a fin does. Then they hang up just like that. Now there is a cheaper option if you don't want to buy those. I'll show you. An alternative for the hang-up system is to just use the string for your leggy. Now if you have really good quality coat hangers, you could probably get away with just using one. These are really cheap plastic ones, so I need 2. And I just feed them through the leggy string just like that. Just like that. Then it hangs up just like that. So that's even cheaper than buying the hang-up system. You've probably got a whole bunch laying around the house. I also hang all of my spare leggies on the same rail. And then of course, all my little fin envelopes. My surf claw and my wetsuits. Now I don't dry these in here because they would become stanky. I dry them in the shade outside, but for storage. And just like that, you've got a really cheap, really effective surfboard, surf gear storage system, and it only cost me a few dollars.